Kia ora koutou, Reese from QuickSense here, and today we're looking at inverse functions. Now, inverse functions are like going back and forth between y is equal to and x is equal to, right? So if we think of x as the input for f of x, then the inverse function of that will tell me how to get back to x if I know what y is. It's a little bit wordy, it's a little bit strange, but hopefully we can see what that means through these explanations. Now with this first instance, we're actually just going to stick with the inverse function. We don't need to think about going backwards and forwards. What we're given is that the output of this function, if I put in -3, is 2. So what that means is 2 is my output, and when I have the input of -3, right, I'm getting that 2. So what does that mean? Well, that's -6 plus c, 2. I add 6 to both sides, getting 8, giving me c equal to 8. This next question has a lot going on. So the first thing I'm going to do is, if I've got f of x, what that's telling me is that the output of x, where x is the input, is y. So f of x, we're going to write in terms of y. And the reason we're going to do that is because we're going to have to try and match it up to this here. Right, so we're going to have to get, if I know my y, how do I get my x? Right, that's the point of the inverse function. So y here is equal to -x over a plus a over b. And what I'm hoping for, in the back of my mind, I'm hoping that we end up with something that looks like something times x plus something. Right, so a coefficient and a constant, as if you were. So let's see if I can simplify this out, right? Because I want to make x the subject. So this becomes -x All right, now I can move that AB to the other side by timesing both sides by AB. Subtract a squared from both sides. And then divide both sides by -b. Giving me x. And just as at the start, I was able to, because I was able to move this into this, what I want is something that's in this form, 2 different expressions. So I'm going to try and split this fraction we have on the left-hand side, well, first of all, we're going to move it to the right-hand side, into 2 parts. So that's going to be simplifying that, right? B over -b is -1. So I get and then this take away -b, I can change into a positive. And now because we were dealing with the inverse function, what I actually have, or what I want to actually use, I'll do it over on this side here, is I'm going to replace the y and the x by each other. So I'm going to flip them around. Right, so now I have this situation where the inverse function of x is equal to -a x plus a squared over b. And I can match that finally to cx plus d. So express c and d in terms of a and b. Well, c is going to be equal to -a, and d, well, that's going to be equal to a squared over b.